buckle up because this is going to be a great discussion that we're going to have today. And I have no doubt that we are going to cover a lot of basis and a lot of ground on the discussion today. Um, the title of our discussion is Solutions for Paying for Assisted Living and Memory Care. And this is in partnership with one of our positive aging community champions, which is Arden Courts and Springhouse. And my good friend and regional director of Arden Courts, Hannah, will probably pop in a little bit later. So we'll make sure that you get to know her. But without Hannah, we wouldn't have had Emily, our wonderful guest today, who is a subject matter expert, especially in the area of, veterans benefits, bridge loans, long-term care insurance claims, and a variety of other things that are associated with paying for assisted living and memory care. I know we're going to go down tons of rabbit holes today because, folks, I've been getting emails all morning. But Emily, before we dive into this and you share some of the great resources that you've got, let's get to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Elder Life Financial, the organization you represent.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you today and tell a little bit about myself and Elder Life. So I've actually been in senior living for 18 years. Please don't ask me how many years old I am. I'm actually from your area of the country, interestingly. I grew up on Capitol Hill. My dad worked for the federal government, so I have true appreciation of all the folks that are watching this presentation today, either live or recorded. And I have been working with seniors since 2008. I actually owned a home care agency, and then I moved into helping families with the VA's aid and attendance benefit. And now I find myself at Elder Life Financial, not only helping families with VA, but also with, as Steve said, bridge loans and long-term care insurance and just a lot of solutions. One quickie other thing is my mom was a senior living resident, so I believe in senior living. It really made a huge impact in my family's life, and I'm thrilled to be able to help you with some information about how to achieve that as well.
I love it. Well, there's nothing better than just jumping right in. So, folks, but as Emily is pulling up her slide deck, um, I want to give you a couple of reminders. Number one, you can ask questions throughout this discussion using Q&A and chat. And Emily, if you don't mind just taking a few breaks, if I see
Mhm.
some like real burning questions, you might see my head pop up on the screen, and I'll interrupt you politely. And then so let's get this party started. Um,
Okay. With that, let me launch this so you can see everything that we're going to be going over today. Okay, so I didn't give an introduction about Elder Life, so I will give about 1 minute on that. Elder Life Financial has been in business for 25 years, helping families find solutions to move into that senior living community that they're looking for themselves or their loved ones. We do work nationwide. We partner with Arden Courts and Evergreen Management. And we are really available to help you anytime between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday Eastern Time. I am going to give you a number at the end of this presentation. If you want to give us a ring, you still have time today to do that. And with that, let's talk about the financial solutions that you have come to learn about today. We're going to talk about the VA's aid and attendance benefit. As I said, I've done that since 2008, so I do have a lot of background with the aid and attendance benefit. We're going to talk about real estate solutions, just taking a quick look at what's going on in the real estate market and how Elder Life might be able to make it just a little bit easier for you. Long-term care insurance. Many of you have a long-term care policy. My mom actually had one. They're wonderful, but they can be very frustrating. And Elder Life Financial is going to assist you through that process so you can fully utilize that amazing policy that you've been paying into for years. And then we're going to talk about something that is unique to Elder Life, which is the Elder Life Bridge Loan. We are able to help people move into a community faster and easier, as well as a few other resources that we can offer to you when we speak with you by phone. Lastly, as Steve said, we're going to have an open Q&A at the end. So if things come to mind, please put them in the chat and he's going to help me with the questions. So Aid in attendance. What VA benefits can help you pay for senior living? Uh, Essentially, there is an amazing benefit from the Department of Veterans Affairs that most people are really unaware of. And it's not your fault that you don't know about it. The VA doesn't promote it, Social Security doesn't promote it, Medicare, Medicaid doesn't really promote it. Typically, people find out about VA benefits for senior living, known as aid and attendance pension, through someone who's helping you find a community, or maybe your community sales manager or executive director, or hopefully a webinar like this. So why is it important to understand about this benefit if you are a veteran or surviving spouse of a veteran or child or loved one of a veteran? Well, because there is a lot of money available to you as an additional income known as a pension through the Department of Veterans Affairs if you meet 4 criteria. So the dollar amounts that we're talking about just went up 3 days ago. The VA's fiscal year starts on December 1, so today is December 3rd. 3 days ago, everybody on this benefit actually got a payment increase. This year, from December 1 through November 30th, 2026, if you are a surviving spouse, you can expect to receive $1,558 a month. If you are a single veteran, you can expect $2,424 a month. If you are a married veteran, the amount that you're going to receive depends on whether you need care, the veteran, or the spouse needs care. So if the married veteran needs care, the VA will actually give the veteran $2,873 a month. That's over $34,000 a year to help pay for your care. If you're a married veteran where only the spouse needs care, the veteran is still healthy, the VA will award the veteran $1,903 to help pay for the spouse's care. All of these dollars are tax-free, as are all VA benefits, and they are paid directly to the applicant. So that means if you are going to apply for these funds, they're not going to go to your senior living community. They're actually going to go right into the checking account that you put on your application. The money always goes to the veteran while the veteran's alive and the spouse once the veteran's deceased. So today we're going to take a quick look at the 4 criteria. Now, if you speak with my team live over the phone, we will actually do a deep dive about your personal situation regarding each one of these criteria. So for purposes of this webinar, I'm going to just give you a general overview about each of the criteria so you can start thinking about what my team might ask you about if you want to consider applying. So we're going to look at the military service of the veteran. We're going to look at health of the applicant. We're then going to look at net income after medical expenses. And finally, we're going to look at family net worth. The reason we're going to ask you questions about these things is this is what is on the 30-page VA application. It does take you through a series of questions of all 4 of these criteria, and they all must be answered in order for the VA to make a determination of whether you are eligible or not. So the first and most important criteria of this benefit is something that we aren't going to be able to change. It happened many decades ago, and either you or your loved one is eligible or they're not eligible. And of course, my team is more than happy to talk you through this. I don't expect you to decide just based on this slide. But what we are trying to determine is, did the veteran serve 1 active duty day during a period of war? That is a main criteria of this benefit. So 1 active duty day during World War II, Korea, Vietnam, or the Gulf War. Now, these dates weren't made up by Elder Life. They weren't even made up by the VA. They're actually determined by Congress as when the beginning and end of the war happened. You'll notice we don't actually have an exact date of the end of the Gulf War. Even if you check va.gov, you'll see there hasn't been an end date determined. I'm not sure when that's coming. But we are looking to see, did the veteran serve at least 1 day of active duty during one of these 4 wartime periods? And did they serve at least a total of 90 active duty days? Now, I didn't say all 90 had to be in a row. You could have 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, which might have happened if you were in the National Guard or the Merchant Marines or the Reserves. What the VA wants to see when you complete this application are your discharge papers, of course, showing 1 active duty day during wartime and a total of 90. If you don't have your discharge papers, which you might be saying to yourself right now, you can definitely speak with my team. We're going to give you a couple of ways to order them. You can go through the National Archives for free. It typically takes a couple of months. Or we can recommend a private company that you pay probably around $100, but they'll get it for you in about 3 to 4 weeks. We might have a few other tips of ways and places that you could look for those discharge papers as well. Now, a surviving spouse has to apply on her last marriage. So if she was married to a wartime veteran and he passes and then she remarries and that second marriage is not a wartime veteran, unfortunately, she's no longer eligible for this benefit. She's always going to apply on her last marriage. Another disappointing fact is that divorce will divorce you essentially from this benefit as well. So we're going to ask a bunch of marital questions as well as military questions when we are reviewing this first criteria. Last thing my team is going to ask about is what benefits are you already receiving from the VA? Most importantly, what monetary benefits are you receiving from the VA? Because I'd be willing to bet we have some folks on the line today that are receiving disability compensation. You are being compensated for an injury you sustained during wartime. Or maybe we have some spouses that are receiving DIC, part of your deceased husband's disability benefit. If you are already receiving disability, you are very likely receiving more than what this benefit can provide to you. So if you are at 80, 90, 100% disabled, you're really not going to want to apply for this benefit because as you notice on the slide before, all of the benefit amounts that I showed you start with a 2 in front of the comma. If you are at 80, 90, 100%, you probably have a 3 in front of the comma. And the VA is not going to give you both benefits. So that's something that we're going to ask. What are you currently receiving? And is the aid and attendance benefit a higher dollar amount? We don't want to send you down a rabbit hole applying for a benefit if you already have one that's greater. So we're going to check that as well. The second criteria we're going to ask about probably affects many of you already. The VA wants to know on a 4-page medical form, does the veteran or the spouse, or maybe both of you, needing care from another individual on a regular basis? Essentially, do you need help with 2 or more activities of daily living? Activities of daily living are bathing, dressing, toileting, feeding, transferring, ambulating. Is somebody helping you with 2 of these? The most simple way to qualify for this benefit is by allowing your community to help you with a shower assist. A shower assist is bathing and dressing. It's not a sponge bath. It's not dressing you like a baby doll. It is literally helping you get safely out of your clothes, into the shower, out of the shower when you're slippery and wet, and back into your clothes. That's it. That's bathing and dressing. Or it could be as simple as transferring, which could be from your wheelchair to the bed and back, or ambulating down to the dining room. So some very simple activities of daily living that many folks have to conquer at this stage in their life will help you qualify for this benefit. Essentially, you don't want to tell us how healthy you are. If you are healthy and independent, you probably are not eligible for this benefit yet. Another way to qualify for this benefit is by sharing on your medical form that you have dementia, Alzheimer's, maybe you have macular degeneration, which means you're legally blind. Potentially you have Parkinson's, which probably also shows that you need help with ADLs. So there is a 4-page medical form that we, of course, will provide to you if you're utilizing our application software, and you will take that medical form to any doctor or nurse practitioner. Oftentimes people think they need to take it to a VA medical center. That's not correct. It could be the community doctor, your primary care physician, your neurologist, somebody that can fill out 4 pages about your recent medical history showing that you either have a diagnosis or you need help with 2 activities of daily living. The third criteria of the benefit is all about dollars and cents. The VA is going to ask you to complete a lot of pages on that 30-page form of what are your incomes. And it's not just incomes from the veteran. It's income from both parts of the couple, veteran and spouse. So the VA wants to know all Social Securities, all pensions, so career pension, maybe even military career pension, wages if any part of the couple is still working, any rental income from properties that you own and rent out, interest and dividends from any investments. Essentially, any money that's coming in that can pay for your care is an income. Then the VA will let you deduct, reduce your income with your care costs. So that is why this is a benefit that triggers when you're utilizing care. So the VA will let you deduct your home care, your assisted living or memory care, your adult daycare costs, your health insurance premiums, your long-term care premiums. And if independent living with home care, you may also be able to qualify for this benefit as well. So essentially, the VA is looking at what do you have coming in versus what do you have going out. When people decide to move into senior living, they are typically spending more on their care than they have coming in. If you have more income than the cost of care, if your income is higher than your care cost, you can actually end up with a partial benefit. I thought I had a slide about that. That's why I advanced it. But even a partial benefit is great. Remember, all of these benefits are tax-free. So even if you get $1,000 instead of $1,558, that's still $12,000 a year tax-free to pay for your care. So we can help you assess, are you going to get the full benefit, the partial benefit, or maybe you're not spending enough on your care to get any benefit. And that is a calculation that my team will do for you. Last criteria of the benefit is assets. This is a means tested program. And so the VA will make you fill out a form about every single account you and your spouse have. Even if there's only $1,000 in it, the VA wants to know about it. In fact, they probably already know about it thanks to your taxes. So you're going to document every single bank account, checking, savings, CDs. You're going to document your annuities, your IRAs, your 401ks, any mutual funds, any pieces of real estate other than your primary residence, which we'll talk about in a second, any stocks or bonds. Essentially anything you can sell or liquidate, even if there's a cost to doing so, the VA is going to ask you about, and they will count that into the 2026 asset limit. So this year's asset limit, as I said, the benefits went up 3 days ago, so did the asset limit. It is now just slightly under $164,000. To be exact, as you see on the screen, it's $163,699, and that's actually the rounded up number. Now, what will the VA not count? The VA won't count your primary residence. So if you're a couple and one part of the couple is in memory care and one part of the couple is remaining at home, the house doesn't count. There might be $1 million house in your area, and that does not count as long as you don't sell it. You can even have your home rented. Now, that rental income is going to count as income, as I showed you on the prior slide, but the value of the home won't count against you. That home could have your kids living in it, your grandkids living in it. It could also be vacant. As long as it remains a home, you cannot pay a senior living community with a window or door. And so the home remains exempt, as does 2 acres around it. Now, as I said at the beginning, I know your area, so very likely nobody has much more than 2 acres around it, but if you do, any acreage above the 2, the VA is going to want to know about the value of that acreage, and it's going to count into the $163,699. Now, some of you might have some final expense policies, prepaid funerals. Those don't count. They don't expect you to liquidate those. They don't ask about vehicles. They don't ask about personal property. So if you are fortunate and you are over the asset limit, you have too much in your accounts, or you might be over the asset limit as soon as you sell your home, we do have some solutions for that. So feel like you can still give us a call. We are likely not going to have you apply today because we don't want you to get denied, but we will make referrals to one of our partners that can give you some education about how you can prepare to apply for this benefit in the future. So if you are interested in learning more about your own specific situation about the aid and attendance benefit, whether it's for you, not for you, or could be for you in the future, you're going to want to give us a call. And as I said, I'm going to give you a phone number at the end, and we will review those 4 criteria with you. We'll then give you a couple of ways to apply. If you would like, we are more than happy to email you the 30-page VA application. We have compiled the 4 different forms the VA expects all into one PDF, and we will email that to you for free. Now, I wouldn't really recommend doing the application by yourself, by pen and paper. It's a very easy way to make a mistake. What we own is a software, kind of like TurboTax. So it will help you, guide you through the 30-page application. You're going to answer questions in a manner that we understand, and it's going to auto-populate all of your answers into the right spots on the 30-page application. We do charge $599 to use our software, similar to paying a couple $100 to use TurboTax every April, but we really are time efficient and cost effective. It's the best way to do an application if you've never done one before, which is probably every family on the line today. Our applications take about 4 to 6 months to get approved by the VA, which is a pretty good turnaround time. And we do offer a bridge loan, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the future of this slide, of this presentation, but we will offer to help you with funds while you're waiting out that 4 to 6 months to get approved by the VA. Because of course you do need to move in and show that you are paying for care in order to really get approved. And then lastly, really cool thing about this benefit, and then I'll pause for questions, is this benefit pays retroactive. So if you open your claim with the VA by the last business day of any month, and this month we're lucky it happens to be December 31st. Last month we lost 2 days because of the weekend. If you file your claim, even the 2-page intent to file form, which is on our software, very first tab, if you get an intent to file into the VA by the 31st, the VA will then backdate your money to January 1. So when you're approved, let's say in April, the VA is going to give you 4 months of money back come May. You will get a deposit in your checking account, likely over $10,000, which will either help you replenish your checking account or repay that Elder Life Bridge loan. Okay, with that, I'm going to pause, Steve, and see if you have any questions you want me to answer right now, or you can tell me to keep going.
Okay, this is great. Okay, and we want to keep on going, but let me just go through a couple quick ones.
Okay.
Myra was just, can you state the limit on income again? She caught the assets, but just the
Yeah.
income limit for VA.
Well, that's a great question, Myra, because there is not an income limit. I did not actually say it. The VA is going to look at, and I don't know why I don't have this slide, but the VA is going to look at how much income you have and how much you're spending. So really what the VA wants to know is how much do you have left over after you have
Disposable.
paid your community. So if you have $10,000 a month and you spend $11,000 on your community, you have nothing left. If you have $10,000 a month but you only spend $5,000 on your community, you're going to have $5,000 left. And that $5,000 left is going to be a problem. The VA really wants to see that you have spent all of your income on care. When you hit zero, that's when you get one of those nice big benefit amounts I showed you on the first slide. So there is no income limit because it will let you deduct your care from your income, reducing it many times to zero or below zero.
Great. Okay. And then lastly, a few questions about this software service that you've got.
Sure.
A couple of folks were asking what's the difference between the application help you provide in a local VA
Sure.
service,
Sure.
and then the just confirming 599 for the software to complete the 30-page application.
Yes. Okay. So to answer both of those questions, we're kind of like apples and oranges. You can absolutely go to your veteran service officer. The beauty of using a software from your home computer is you could call us today, buy the software today, and get your application done by the weekend, probably. It's very easy. You're going to plug in the information that I just went over with you: military, medical, income, assets. You're going to, of course, have to dig all of that information out of your files. But once you have it, you just plug it in just like you do with your 1099s and your W-2s when you fill out your IRS taxes on TurboTax or Quicken or Tax Act. If you want to go and sit in front of a human being and you want someone to fill it out for you for free, go ahead. Ask your veteran service officer for an appointment. You will likely have to go to their office between 8 and 3 Monday through Friday. You will have to bring your parent, which I know because my mom was in senior living is sometimes not that easy, but it is another option. If you don't want to use the computer, which sometimes people don't, going to a veteran service officer is definitely another way to go. And yes, to answer the second half, we charge $599 to use our very smart software. We will also review all of your data entry before you print it out, sign it, and get your community to sign it, doctor to sign it, and fax it in. We're going to give you a review to make sure there's nothing that we can help you improve on it before you send it off for the decision.
Love it. Okay, and I'm just going to do one more question, then
Okay,
we'll
go
get you
ahead.
back on track. But folks, if we didn't get to yours, it's just because we're going to get everything at
Yeah,
the
no
end.
rush.
Okay, but Julia says that her family applied for this, but were
Mhm.
told that their income was too high for
Yeah.
aid and attendance. Give us a little picture of what that might look like.
I am going to try to pop back to that slide because this is what Myra asked also, and I knew it was in here. Excuse that the numbers are a little older at the bottom. I'm not sure why I didn't update this one slide, but this kind of gives you an example. You have to be spending money on care to get this benefit. And the reason why you were probably denied in the past is your income was greater than your care cost. Maybe you had no care cost. Maybe you weren't using home care or assisted living when you applied a year or two ago. Well, things change. Remember, I said the only thing that doesn't change is your military service. Your medical needs, your care costs, and your assets all change throughout your life. So even if you weren't eligible in the past, please give us a call. Let us reassess your situation. Even if you were denied in the past, things might be different. My guess is, Julie, you were more like the bottom scenario. Maybe you had $4,600 coming in. Maybe you only had $1,000 going out. And then the VA could see you had plenty of money to pay for your care costs. This benefit comes into play, comes to the rescue when you are utilizing all or most of your income on care. That's when the VA is going to help you, not when you don't demonstrate that you are spending money. Make sense?
Great. All right, let's so that we can have an
Yeah.
open discussion on everything and anything. Let's get back on track, and feel free to take a little break at any point, and I'll share with you. Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, sure. And I'm not going anywhere, everyone. I'm happy to answer some more VA questions at the end. So, the another big thing we do here at Elder Life is real estate. Many families, most families, are moving from their primary residence into a community. So, of course, if we're really going to be a one stop shop for you, a solution finder, we need to help you with that real estate sale. And so, we want to help you maximize that. And to do so, what we've done is created a national real estate network. We know that over 50% of seniors, as I just mentioned, are transitioning from their home of 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 years into senior living. We also know that your home is likely your greatest asset. The equity in a home is how people plan to pay for care oftentimes. And of course, you need to sell it for the maximum amount. Well, what we have also seen is we have had a very soft housing market, especially this summer. I have been in this business a long time, and what I'm feeling this year is that many people placed their home on the market this summer and it hasn't sold. You might be one of those folks. Now we're rolling into the holidays and the cold winter time. I know exactly where you guys are located, and this is not the best time of year to sell. Elder Life has a solution for that as well. But we want to get you the best possible realtor. If you haven't already connected with someone, if there isn't not someone in your life that you would like to help you sell your house, we can definitely connect you with a senior real estate specialist that can guide you through the complexity of selling your home. You probably already know this, but selling a senior's home is a little bit more difficult than selling that brand new home that just was built last month. It's going to have multiple decision makers. So, you, your kids, your grandkids, everybody's going to have an opinion about what the sale price should be, what repairs should be made before you list it, when should you list it. Those different decision makers are probably in multiple markets. I can say that I don't live near my dad, who's in Silver Spring, Maryland, but my brother does. So we're in different markets and we're going to have different opinions when it comes time to sell that home. Many homes also have clutter. Even someone who's only been there a couple of years have clutter in their home. Of course, someone who's been there 20, 30, 40 years has a lot of clutter that you need that home in that tip-top, pristine shape to help get the highest dollar amount. So overall, it's not uncommon for a senior's home to take 6+ months before they receive any funds. As I mentioned, you're going to have to do the preparations. You're going to have to sort the belongings. You're going to have to clean it out, make repairs, list it, get that offer that you're happy with, and finally get it to closing. So we want to just simplify that entire stressful process. I actually just downsized myself, and so I feel anyone's pain who's thinking about doing it. As I mentioned before, we do have a national network of senior real estate specialists. So we vet realtors. We are not having every realtor across the country be a part of Elder Life. We want to work with realtors that really have seniors' best interests at heart, that have typically been in this business for 10 or 20 years. They have a track record, and they want to learn about Elder Life, and they want to understand how we're helping families transition into senior living. And so we can recommend one realtor to your family. You're not suddenly going to be getting 25 phone calls. We're not going to sell your name and your property address to every realtor in the area. We're going to hand select one realtor in the area of your home, in the price point of your home that we know we've had success with, and we're going to have them contact you. They're going to talk about how they're going to help you through this stressful time. We will also recommend move management partners. Move management is all about packing, moving, estate sales, staging, anything that needs to happen to the home so that you can move from point A to point B. We will recommend one move management partner to you. If you would like a second opinion, maybe you've already talked to a realtor, but you're not quite sure, you haven't signed with them yet, you want another opinion. No problem. We'll get you a second opinion from a realtor in our network. You can choose to work with them or not, but at least you've got that second opinion, just like you would have when you're seeing a doctor. And lastly, which we'll touch on more as we go forward, bridge loans. We do provide money while you're waiting to get that home on the market, waiting to get that offer, and waiting to get to closing, which really can be anywhere between 3 and 12 months. And that's exactly how we lend. So we do want to help people a la carte through this home sale process with a realtor, with a move management partner, with a bridge loan, two of the three of the three. It's really up to you. Do we have any real estate questions? If not, I could do long-term care and then maybe take another pause.
Yeah, let's jump on to long-term care and then
Okay,
we'll pause.
I'll take a pause. Okay, so another great way to pay for senior living is long-term care insurance. As I briefly mentioned before, just making this personal, my mom had a long-term care policy. I told you I've been in this industry for 18 years. It even stumped me. I tried to manage my mom's policy myself. It was difficult. It was a little part-time job is what it felt like. And so it can be hard, even if you were smart enough to buy a policy or your parent was smart enough to buy a policy many decades ago. Do you really understand that policy? I am kind of like the doctor who never goes to the doctor. My mom had a policy for many decades. I had never read it until she needed it. So it can be very confusing. Policies typically have outdated terminology. The words that we use today in 2025 are not the words that were used in 1998 when they probably bought the policy. And so it's hard to sometimes even understand that policy if you know where it is. If you try calling the insurance company, not only will you probably get hung up and transferred a million times, but just finding the answers that you really need and have someone explain it the way it makes sense can be very difficult. And you're probably not well versed in how to maximize the policy. There are some tips and tricks of how you can get every single dollar that you're really entitled to out of the policy, but this is the first time you've ever used it. So, of course, it's going to be confusing. You might be like me, where you never read the policy. I knew she had one, and I had no idea how it worked until the day she needed it. Most policies also have an elimination period, anywhere between 30 days and 180 days. My mom's policy was 90 days. What does that mean? That means for the first 90 days of her senior living experience, we had to pay out of pocket. Day 91 is the first day they were going to pay. And that can be difficult. You need to know how many days you're going to have to pay out of your own pocket before the policy is going to start reimbursing you. And then fortunately, some state laws override some of the policy terms, which means your state might very likely not agree with how the policy was written in the 1990s and demand that the policy pay you. So how are we going to help you with all of these challenges? Elder Life has an amazing partner. We work with a company out of Missouri. They're called Family Solutions for Care. And what they will do for any Elder Life family that we refer is they will provide you a free policy review. That means every single person on this webinar, if you would like to get in contact with us, we can get you a free policy review. That means the Family Solution for Care advisor will take a look at your 40-page document. They'll call Genworth or John Hancock or Nationwide with you, and get an explanation of how your policy works. How can you make decisions if you don't really understand what you have? Then they can even help you handle every part of the claims process. So you first have to trigger the claim. You then have to do monthly submittals. You have to audit your monthly reimbursements. You want to make sure you're getting what you're entitled to. And the policy is very likely to send you communication throughout the year and ask you for an annual recertification. If you would like, Family Solutions for Care can offer you an annual contract and they can take all of that off of your plate. I wish I had known that. I was not at Elder Life when I was managing my mom's policy, and like I said, felt like a part-time job. But at a minimum, we're going to get you that free review, just like we get you the free review with VA benefits. It is important to know what is available to you and who can support you throughout this process. Lastly, maybe you're actually owed money from your long-term care policy already. Family Solutions for Care is very good at going back and maybe finding out that you already triggered your policy. You had a medical event that allows you to go back and ask for funds that you never asked for. Maybe they can shorten or completely eliminate your elimination period, those days you have to pay on your own because of something that happened in the past and you're not aware of it. They are experts on long-term care insurance, and because of our relationship, they will give everybody that comes through Elder Life a free policy review. Some statistics from them, they typically get about a $23,000 average retroactive refund. If you had a triggering event and you didn't even know that you did, you may actually be able to recover some funds. And if you allow them to assist you, you typically get $15,000 extra dollars because you're getting that policy started faster and easier. And so there's a lot of benefits of having someone who's an expert on long-term care insurance do it for you. I always say it's wonderful to have somebody help you get 95% of the money that you're entitled to, even if you're paying them a tiny little bit of money for their assistance. So I could stop on this or we could keep going. I could do bridge loans and then we can do a huge Q&A, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, I think this is your last
Section.
topic. And
Correct.
then, yeah, then we'll just do open season.
Okay.
So folks, any
Okay.
questions, drop them
Put 'em
in there
in.
and then we'll get to these afterwards.
Okay, so the last thing is the Elder Life Bridge Loan. Now, obviously, VA and long-term care and real estate, you can get support elsewhere from. Those are resources that you should know about. I hope you want to work with us, but you certainly don't have to get support with those 3 different financial resources for senior living. But the Elder Life Bridge Loan is unique to us. Essentially, what we do is we bridge the gap between the time you need and want the care and the time you can really afford the care. The time before your house sells, the time before your VA benefits, the time before your long-term care triggers. We are going to fill anywhere between 3 and 12 months of funds that you need to pay your community so you can make that best decision for your family rather than rushing a home sale or really sweating it out at home, trying to apply for VA or long-term care. Let's get you into that Arden Courts community today so that you can start enjoying your life there. So our goals are to help you move immediately. I think I already said that. We want to help you maximize the value of your home. Do not sell to an investor or the first offer if you know your house is worth more. We can help you wait for that good offer. We want to help you with the money while you're waiting for VA approval. Remember I said 4 to 6 months. If you work with us, if you work with a veteran service officer or do it on your own, we're typically seeing 8 to 10 months. So you're going to really need to be prepared that you are going to pay that portion of your rent and care on your own. We also know nobody wants to ask their kids for help. And so if you bring us into the equation, if you allow us to help you with an Elder Life Bridge Loan, you're not going to be asking your kids for that support. Your kids might not really be able to afford that support. They might be putting their own children through their education. And so we really want to take that burden off of both generations. So if you do want to talk about a bridge loan, we can easily take an application right over the phone. It is completely free to speak with us. It is free to apply for the bridge loan. If you decide you don't want it, you can always withdraw your application. But I believe knowledge is power, which is why you're all watching this presentation today. Call us, find out what might be available to you. If you're in an urgent need, we can actually have funds available in as little as 24 hours. We lend our own money. We have our own underwriting team. So we're not waiting for a big national bank to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We make our own decisions. We can help you with moving expenses. We can help you with those home repairs to get your house on the market for top dollar. We can help you with the community fee plus your rent and care for the first month up to 12 months. And if you are an existing resident, we also help pay any outstanding invoices. So we do help existing residents with all the resources and the bridge loan that I've talked about today. So besides the four things that I've gone over, we do help with a few other things if you're interested. We can talk about how you can maximize the value of your life insurance policy. If you're thinking, I'm going to sell my life insurance or I'm going to lapse my life insurance because I can't afford it and my senior living community, please contact us. We can help you actually sell that policy and typically get about 60% of the face value. It's an asset. Don't just let it go away. We can talk about the tax deductions that senior living can provide to you. Now, to be clear, we're not CPAs. We're not going to give you tax advice, but we are going to give you everything you need to speak with your tax preparer about how you can deduct your past or future senior living costs. Any money paid to a licensed facility to treat, cure, or prevent injury or illness can be tax deductible. So don't miss out on that tax savings if you owe taxes for 2025. And lastly, we can talk about reverse mortgages. We have one preferred partner that will help you if you are interested in keeping your home and one part of the couple is going to be staying there. We can help you with that reverse mortgage so you don't have to sell your house today. You can actually pull equity from your property to pay for your loved one's care. So before we do questions, because I know some people might need to run, these are the best ways to contact us. If you want to email us, obviously you're all computer savvy, you can email help@elderlifefinancial.com. I have a team of 4 people sitting in front of their computers ready to take your name and number and your email address and get back to you probably today. We're open till 6 p.m. Eastern. You can also just pick up the phone. If you want to dial this number, this 866-758-1418. You will actually speak with a live financial concierge who will walk you through everything in that heart that might be available to you. Or again, you're tech savvy, you can go to elderlifefinancial.com. You can learn a little bit more about us and you can even fill in your information right on our website. And again, we will contact you. So email, call, or visit our website to learn a little bit more about us. We would love to help you with some financial solutions to either move in December or January, or maybe later next year. With that, I'll go back to the question slide and see what you've got for me.
Whoops. All right. Here we go. All right. Thank you, Emily. That was great. And let's dive into some of the questions. So Christina asks, can you apply for both aid and attendance and pension at the same time?
So the aid and attendance is a pension. So it's actually the same thing. It's the aid and attendance pension benefit. So I think that probably sums it up. It's the same benefit. Yes, I
Okay.
understand that it can be confusing. You can have a career military pension. That's totally different. That would be for years of service, just as if you were a teacher or a postal worker, you're going to get a pension. But if you're talking about the aid and attendance benefit, it is a pension. It's through the pension side of the VA.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sure this is a moving target, but Betty asks, what is the typical term and interest rate on your
Sure.
bridge loan?
Well, interestingly, it really isn't a moving target. I mean, we do reserve the right to change our interest rates, but as prime has gone up and down, we have actually remained pretty much the same, I would say, for almost 2 years. We do start at 9.99%. The highest tier is 13.99. And the best way to find out what it would cost for you to borrow from us is by doing an application. We're going to look at your income. We're going to look at how do you plan to pay us back. We're going to look at how much money you want to borrow. We're going to look at what community you want to move into. All of these are different factors that will help us determine if you're a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. All of them are much less than borrowing from a credit card, for sure.
Got it. Okay. And then the going back to the veteran service officer
Okay?
option. And folks, this is
Sure.
just a free option that you know
Mhm.
you we have these service officers that support helping us with the veterans
Yes.
aid and attendance. However, you had mentioned that the if you're applying for your mom or helping your mom apply, he would have to come to the office, correct?
Well, I can't say I have the exact rule book for every veteran service officer. They are county employees, so I'm sure they follow their own rhythm. But many times they do want to meet with the veteran or the spouse. There is a
Okay.
signature on these applications. So, I can't really speak for your local county, but
Okay.
typically the
But
whole family goes down.
if a family or an individual is using your service and the streamlined app,
Mhm.
they don't have to go to any office. They just
Cor-
can sign it
Correct.
and okay.
The best analogy is a tax preparation software. If you buy TurboTax, TaxAct, Quicken, H&R Block, you're not going anywhere. You're using your home computer, a web-based browser with a username and password. So different loved ones can work on it from different states because it's all online, like you share your maybe your streaming service. And you would print it out from your home computer. Your veteran or spouse would sign it on the paper that you print out. You would have your community sign it or your home care provider sign it. You would have the veteran or spouse's doctor sign it. And then you would mail or fax it to the VA. So, yes, we are a very DIY service that you don't have to leave the comfort of your home.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially if your loved one has dementia or something like
Correct.
that, this is
Correct.
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay, Monica says, and why don't you go back to the veteran slide because she
Sure.
asks, does the veteran have to have a certain number of years of service? This always,
Yep.
the wars and the
Yep.
terms and all of that stuff always brings up other questions.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if you want to
So,
just walk through that again.
yeah, sure. This is the most important criteria of the benefit. I know everybody thinks it's the financial, but really, if you are not a wartime veteran and you don't meet this criteria, it doesn't matter if you meet the other three. So you need 1 day of active duty during a wartime period and a total of 90 active duty days. So the question was, how many years of service? 90 days. Most people typically when they were in World War II, Korea, or Vietnam, they served a year or two or more. So 90 days is a piece of cake. The reason 90 days is a big benchmark is there are some folks that are reservist, National Guard, Merchant Marines, and they may have been called up for short periods of active duty. And if those days added together equal 90, you're also eligible. So it's 1 day and 90 days. That's really what you're
Okay,
looking for.
one day in these wartime
Correct. And then the Gulf
okay.
War, to be clear, because someone's going to catch me on it, the Gulf War, you need 24 months of active duty because it is a much longer war. You
Mhm.
also need to be 65 or older unless you're considered disabled. We are not helping many Gulf War veterans yet because Gulf War veterans that do have care needs are probably getting disability compensation already. So we are really right now helping a lot of Vietnam veterans and their spouses.
Okay, great. Let's see. Owen asks, can you help with home care claims under a long-term care policy? So I know you were talking about deciphering the policy, but is there support with claims and things of that nature?
Yes. So our same partner, Family Solutions for Care, again, I'm saying out of Missouri because I want you to know, and I should probably also say this, you're going to get a Missouri area code calling you. And then I have one other thought. They're happy to look at the policy and tell you how your policy works. Some policies will cover only home care. Some will only cover skilled nursing. Some will cover only assisted living. Some will cover all of the above. And that's the purpose of having them review your policy so you understand before you make a commitment to a home care agency or a commitment to an assisted living or senior living community, whether your policy is going to reimburse you for those care costs. The other thing I remembered to say is that we are actually based, Elder Life is based out of Tennessee. So when we call you, it's going to be a 615 area code. I know you're all 301 or trying to remember
Well,
703.
actually, we've got people all over the
Oh, that's
country
true.
on this call.
Good
Yeah, yeah,
point. So
yeah.
I shouldn't make that assumption. I know where Steve is. So anyway, 615 for Elder Life, and I'm blanking on Missouri. I think it's 816. But yes, home care, we'd be more than happy to look at that policy too.
Okay. And then let's see. I'm not sure where Julia was in the presentation when she asked this question.
Okay.
She said, so we would need to wait a year to apply after we've started paying for in-home care?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So that is a common question. I think I understand where Julia is going. You can trigger your eligibility today if you start paying for care today. The VA is not asking you to pay for a year before they're going to allow you to have this benefit. The VA is asking you to fill out 30 pages about your financial situation today. What is your income? What are your care costs? What are your assets? If you are want to talk with us but you don't want to move until January after the Christmas or New Year's holiday, no problem. We can just take the dollar amount that you're anticipating you're going to pay starting January, and we'll give you an answer of whether it looks like you're going to be eligible or not. Maybe what she's thinking is long-term care insurance can have an elimination period, and that's policy specific. The VA is the same for everyone in all 50 states. If you're paying for care today and it's more than your income, you will meet this criteria. Hopefully, I
Okay.
explained that well.
No, that's great.
Okay.
Okay. Um, all right. We've got a question, and I'm gonna drop in a link that might
Okay.
help you with this one. Is Monica is asking, so back to the VA paperwork, if you use the service administrator, they
Mhm.
may take into consideration the parent with dementia, and they also have power of attorney. And I think what Emily had said earlier on that one, Monica, is it really depends. And so what I would recommend is talk to the veteran service
Yes.
program in your region. I gave you the link there, and find out what that is.
Yeah.
But what I'm excited about, what I like is people having choices. And you may, in your region, you may be able to get in and get it done with the Veterans Service Administrator, but knowing that you've got sort of a TurboTax option available to you if your schedule or what have you doesn't
Right.
permit. Great resource to know that's available to you.
Absolutely. And even I'm not seeing the link, but yes, you can always Google your veteran service officer in your county. Feel free to check out how they're able to help you. Explain your situation. You're welcome to give us a call and go over your benefits with us and not use our software. We're really just trying to be a resource to families. So yeah, I
And
like your
and
point.
and actually, didn't you say, like she was talking about the 599, but didn't you say that you guys will do a free consultation before the
Yes, so we
b-
always,
okay.
I popped this slide up. We always do a free review. We're really trying to help seniors understand if this is an option for them. We're not selling anybody our software if we don't think you're eligible. We're not interested in you getting denied. We're not interested in doing a refund, which we would do if later on down the road you learned you weren't a wartime veteran or you weren't married to one, for example. We have a lot of integrity. We are more than happy to just talk about your eligibility. If you then decide you want to go to your veteran service officer, that's fine. We think we have a great product, but we are not, it's not a one size fits all. Everybody has different needs.
Okay. Well, this has been amazing. I'm looking at the clock. We've almost been talking an hour, and I want to make sure I'm blown away. Y'all, very amazing questions and comments as always. Uh, that's wonderful. I want to just address a question that came in before the discussion, and I got a bunch of them that came like this. And this one in particular came from a rehab coordinator in a hospital. It says any information that you can include when a person only has Social Security, no other funds. What does the family do? How do you get this person into an assisted living or one like it instead of a nursing home without the finances? And folks, this is one of those heartbreaking
Mhm.
situations when it comes to assisted living. However, um, so depending on the state that you're in, there may be a Medicaid waiver for assisted living. In most states, though, the waiting list is very long. However, it's just the best place for you to connect with for somebody like this is the local area agency on aging where the person lives. So if they're in, York County, Pennsylvania, you pick up the phone, Google York County Area Agency on Aging, explain your situation, that you'd prefer this person or your loved one not to be in a nursing home. They really need assisted living, they just can't afford it. That's one solution that you want to check. The other solution you want to check is, like, I just found out yesterday that there are two brand new affordable assisted living buildings that were built in Washington D.C. in the last 6 months. It's still expensive, folks, but you may find that with Social Security and some other resources like veterans aid and attendance, that mom can afford assisted living. Oh yeah, one thing, right when you started talking about the veterans aid and attendance, a few people said, it's like, don't forget, women serve in the
Yes.
military too, so a husband could receive the benefits.
Yep.
Okay. The Okay, so those are a couple of things. Now, this is another thing that I've been talking a lot about with folks of limited resources, is that somebody might have enough resources to kind of put together an assisted living or memory package for a year or so, okay, but then they run out of assets. Really, really important that we're monitoring our assets, and we're applying for Medicare strategically before we run out of money, Medicaid, before we run out of money, so that we can get that person into a nursing home that's Medicaid certified, and they're taken care of. They're in a safe space. Those are a couple of ideas on that question. Emily, any thoughts that you might have that are on your radar for that one?
I actually thought your last one was the best one. If you have some resources you want and you can private pay for a little while, you want to find a community that requires a 6 months, 12 months, 24 months private pay, and then will allow you maybe to utilize one of their Medicaid apartments. So you do want to look down the road. You don't want to just think about today. I actually think that's one of the best ones. And of course, you're right.
Oh,
Aid and
okay.
attendants might come to the rescue, even for the husband spouses. I
All right.
apologize if
And
I
actually,
misspoke.
really, really important. We got David Taylor, who's an elder law attorney, on, and he said that is illegal. So
Oh,
neither
right.
Emily and I are attorneys. Okay. And I didn't mean to sort of talk about the Medicaid planning. What I meant to say is we got to have a watchful eye on our assets and have a game plan in advance. And I highly recommend talking to a uh what he's saying is a facility can't require you to private pay. Yeah, I agree. That is illegal. Um, the but the reality is we know that things like that are occurring out there in the marketplace. But in any event,
Just good to
I'm
get good
babbling.
advice in advance. That's, I think,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
we're trying to go. Don't just
yeah,
wing
yeah.
it. You want to get good advice.
Yeah, and you really want to have a detailed accounting of your assets, your income, even if you feel that it's insignificant. It as we learned today with some of these programs that Emily is offering, is that you can qualify for additional resources that could make these transitions a little bit easier. Um, let's see. Monica had a question. Is Elder Life Financial anything like Care Patrol? And for those of you who don't know, like companies like Care for Patrol, A Place for Mom, there's dozens of them now, provide referrals to senior living communities, and they get a referral fee if the individual moves in. Is you
Right.
you all
So
aren't in that
Elder
space,
Life
correct?
is not in placement. We are here to help
Okay.
anybody that wants to inquire about financial resources to pay for their care. You can choose
Okay.
any community you want. We're not recommending any communities. We do partner with communities like we are today to help their families find financial resources. That's our primary goal.
Okay, and then another, since we have David on there, talking about support for these confusing topics like Medicaid, you're
Mhm.
applying, you're getting a Medicaid bed. I want to put the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys link in
Yep.
there. If you can consult with an elder law attorney, it's not a bad idea in some of
Mm,
these matters that we're talking about today.
right. And Elder Life does
Um,
not help with Medicaid, Medicare. You definitely want to go to an expert on that. Yep.
yeah, but Emily, I really like the overview that you
Thank
gave
you.
and the very little known programs that you help facilitation with. We got quite a few people that were interested in taking you up on the reviewing of the long-term care insurance policy. And
Thanks.
obviously, with all the questions around veterans benefits, I think
Yeah.
that's really good too. Um, and this is this has really been a great conversation. I really want to thank Arden Courts for helping us put this together, and I'm bummed that Hannah's not here to meet our wonderful audience. But we'll make sure to drop links to all of her information in the recording, which will be available at proaging.com later today.
Thanks so much for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Emily. So before we shut things down, did we cover everything? We got all your links and everything like
I
that.
think so. I think I'll stop sharing. Everyone can give us a call, an email, and visit our website, and we're happy to help you.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to do this again. This was really good. And so
My pleasure.
thank you, everybody. We'll see you at the next one. And like I said, this will all be at proaging.com, but you can also feel free to reach out to me directly if you want to brainstorm. All righty.